Today we have with us a very special guest. James Berkeley is an artist, producer, and multi-instrumentalist. You might recognize him from headlining the future soul band Yackle, or more recently his solo projects. But you probably didn't know that he is, above all else, a massive fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, the animation, not the blue people.
Guilty. It's true.
Wait, before we go any further, what do you think of the blue people? Are you into that as well?
And this is diverting straight away, but
That's what we're here for. It's all good.
you know what? I actually enjoy that film. I've actually had a few conversations recently about Avatar the film and why it gets so much hate. The thing that I came to with it is that it was just like hailed as such a incredible film, like one of the greatest things ever. And I think that people maybe just like kind of get pissed off with that.
Like overhyped sort of thing.
Yeah,
like if something's
overhyped,
played on the
exactly.
radio too much, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. I get that it's doing that story, like is it the Pocahontas
It's
story?
Pocahontas,
It's Pocahontas.
So many stories in films are just like taken from other things. So I don't think that's a valid argument in itself. It's an enjoyable film. I like it. It's not the best film ever, but
Did you see it in the cinema?
I did. I went to see it 3 times because it was in 3D.
I saw it twice.
And it was the first thing I saw in 3D.
I know, yeah, I saw it the first time and then I saw it in 3D.
I never saw it in the cinema. I can get why it's maybe not as loved after it came out at the cinemas and people are just watching it at home, right? Because it's such a different thing.
It was beautiful. It was just such a beautiful world.
Yeah. I think people maybe at this point just love to hate on stuff.
That's why we're here.
Like you guys.
It's the other way as well, right? Where people now are going back to the Star Wars prequel trilogy and going, maybe actually this was pretty good, right? It's just being contrary gets you clicks online, right? Just being controversial.
I have heard that.
Is that your defense for it?
What, the prequel series or?
No, for being controversial.
Oh, that's my defense for our existence. Yeah. Should we go back to Last Airbender? Sorry, I just.
No, it was important, essential. So this is not blue people. This is
The Aang Gang.
Yeah. As much as I like the blue people, Avatar: The Last Airbender is a whole other thing.
That it is. And we're talking about the animated series, not the.
Wow.
Well.
Have you seen the new one?
So I have seen the first 2 episodes of the live action, and I have not seen. I've watched the first 2 minutes of the film.
Oh, James.
And then was like, I don't actually. It was like, again, both of those little forays into the live action ones were off the back of watching the series, the animated series, and it's just like I don't think it should ever be done that way round, which I learned by time.
Yeah, I kind of did the opposite this time, where when we were going to talk about it, I watched the film for the first time, and it made me so angry that I went and rewatched the series again. I hadn't even finished the first episode of the live action, and I was just so angry I couldn't handle it. And then Max basically convinced me that there's a different way to look at it, and I have finished the live action.
Okay.
And James, you touched on it there in that you only made it through the first 2 minutes of the film and you made it through the first 2 episodes of the live action TV series. They're different beasts, right?
Yeah.
They are different.
Yeah.
Very true.
My problem was that I was so angry at the existence of the live action things that I just lumped it all in together and was like, they're all as bad as each other. What's the point? Why remake it when it's the perfect series? The animation is the perfect series.
I guess it's just because
money.
They know that they're going to be able to let piggyback off its success, right?
Although they are doing new animated series, right? They're doing a new film.
It's a film.
Well, no. So they're doing both, right? They're doing a new film which comes out in 2026, and they're also working on the next animated series in the cycle, which is going to be the Earthbender Avatar after Korra.
Okay.
Interesting.
And I think that's ordered for 2 seasons, like 26 episodes.
I can get down with that.
Did you see Korra?
So this is going to sound like I just don't follow things through, but yeah, I watched
Have you seen Avatar?
I watched the first episode of Korra, but then again, it was off the back of watching the series.
Too soon. You went for it too soon.
And it wasn't that I didn't enjoy the first episode of Korra. I did. It was just one of those classic things where you watch it and then you just kind of forget about it. I have nothing against it, and I definitely want to watch the rest of it.
Everyone had told me wait for ages until you watch Korra after watching Aang, and I was like, a week is ages, right? And it was not long enough. But I did rewatch it, and I actually liked it less the second time. I felt like coming at it a bit more grounded and not being like desperate to see all of the original characters. It just doesn't hold up in the same way. Like, it does some really interesting things. Korra as a character is so much older, and there are some interesting things with that. Like, you have this kind of teenage stuff going on, but you have that in Aang anyway.
Done better as well.
Yeah, done better.
Yeah. Is Korra trying to do the same? Is it treading the same ground? Is it trying to like do the same setups and the same things, or is it kind of doing its own thing?
The major problem with Korra is that it was ordered on a season to season basis.
Right.
So the original series, they have this clear idea of a 3-season structure going through the different nations, and Korra is kind of trying to do a micro version of that sort of narrative on every season. So there's a new villain every season. Hannah, you've watched it more recently than me. At the end, they kind of try and pull a bunch of stuff together, right?
I think the issue is that the writing team changed, because with Aang, Aaron Ehas and Elizabeth Welch, who were the staff writers, or he was the lead writer, she's behind some of the most amazing character episodes of Aang, like Zuko Alone, Appa's Journey, or anything where it's like really heavy on character. Was Elizabeth Welch, and they didn't come back for Korra.
Oh, okay.
So you have the creators still, and they were so good at world building, and they'd been working on these characters for years. You can really feel that is still there in Korra. They take it forward, they build a whole new world, and they kind of build on the lore, but you just don't have the same character stuff. And so it ends up going really big on like the themes are, I don't want to spoil the narrative, but it's they go so much bigger, and they don't have that grounding of the character stuff to kind of pair with it. And then it does follow some of the same beats. Like in Aang, there's that episode, one of my favorite episodes. It's like the second last one before the big finale, where they see the play of themselves. And it's such an amazing piece of writing, because
the recap.
It's a recap, which is normally a super annoying episode to watch, because you're like, I've just been watching this for 3 weeks solid. Like, I know what's happened. But because you're getting this reminder of everything that's happened, but also the characters are watching it and they're responding to it, and they're learning things that they didn't know about each other that have happened.
The way that they're perceived by, externally.
Yeah, exactly.
So smart.
Exactly. But then in Korra, there's a similar recap episode, but it's literally just like these bubbleheads that arrive on the screen that are like, hey, remember this thing? This doesn't work.
I do hate it when those things happen. I think up until like the 6th Harry Potter book, she starts in at least the first couple chapters by just like Hogwarts, the school that they go to, and like Harry's best friend Ron.
Remember?
We're this far in, like, do you?
Yeah.
Who is reading this, being like, wait, Ron who?
Oh wait, is this not Lord of the Rings?
It makes some kind of sense when you think about the release schedules of these things originally, right? Because Harry Potter books, it was, it's a good few years between books coming out, and so some people are rereading them. A lot of people are not reading any of it and forgetting most of it in between and then coming back. So it makes sense. And the same with TV shows, right? When you binge a TV show now that was released on a weekly schedule across the course of years, I mean, this was in the 2000s, right?
It's a really good point.
So this is back where people were probably not able to access it to do any kind of rewatching.
Or you might miss an episode.
Or you might miss an episode. Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Oh my God. I missed an episode of Gundam Wing once, and then I stopped watching it.
I don't even know what that is.
What is that?
Gundam Wing is an anime show where they're all like these big robots and they're flying around, and they're, like, what's that Guillermo del Toro film?
Pan's Labyrinth.
Not Pan's Obviously not Pan's Labyrinth.
What do you mean, obviously not? We don't know what you're
there's
talking
no
about.
big robots in Pan's Labyrinth.
I didn't know that that's what you were talking about.
Yeah. Oh, is it even him? Is it
Just
someone
took
else?
us down a fucking dead end.
Oh my God. No, Pacific Rim.
Okay.
Pacific
Yeah,
Rim. Yeah, big robots.
You can't be annoyed that you went Del Toro and we both said Pan's Labyrinth.
No, that's fair. That's his best film, right? Is that his best film?
But it's funny you were saying about
Yeah.
Harry Potter, because I was thinking that watching the Netflix live action, that it was kind of a similar feeling. It's different because Harry Potter was obviously books to film, so it's a completely different medium. But there was an element where I was like, okay, so actually, as someone who really, really loves the original series, obviously I'm going to find issues with the live action, because there are some things, some choices that they've made that we will get into that are just totally rogue. But actually, it's quite a good translation of some of it. Like, it stays really close to all of the creatures. Some of the scenes are like beat for beat, the same blocking. The fight sequences are the same. Some of the dialogue is even the same. It's weird to watch it because I know it so well in the original format. But yeah, it made me think of Harry Potter because I remember when the films came out, it was such a divide of people being like, yeah, magic, and the others being like, it's not like the books.
It's so difficult to translate the humor of The Last Airbender as well, right?
I think that's one of like the hardest things going from animated to live action. There's a certain level of humor that just seems to come naturally with animation because you're not constricted to like
Gravity.
Reality. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And just like the laws of physics.
Yeah.
In live action, it just doesn't translate at all.
Well, slapstick plays so differently. Right?
Yeah, so true.
Slapstick is so difficult.
Yeah, like Sokka getting eaten by Appa and like spat out. It doesn't really work in live action.
Reaction shots as well with the
eyes going like really
expressions.
big and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Doing things way beyond physical proportion.
I was surprised actually with the live action on the second attempt, pushing through it. By about episode, because there are 8 episodes, by about episode 3 or 4, I found myself like, okay, some of this is funny. There were some soccer moments that were funny. It's nowhere near the level of the animation. I think the real crime with the live action is that Iroh was such a miss.
Yeah. Oh my god. He's my favorite character.
He's the key.
Yeah, that was disappointing because I was okay with some of the castings, but
Zuko.
Yeah, totally.
Zuko's awesome.
Yeah, Zuko's good.
Yeah, great.
Because he translates it, and you kind of feel that angst.
Yeah. I actually think the one character that they really, really, really did not nail in either adaptation is Katara.
You said this before. I didn't find her as offensive in the Netflix one.
I don't find her offensive. I just don't find her, like, she doesn't capture that. I mean, I haven't seen the whole thing of the Netflix adaptation, but she just didn't seem to capture that.
She's not strong.
No, exactly. And compare that again with Nicola Peltz-Beckham from the film. She's abysmal.
We're not talking about the film, though, are we? It's just so painful.
I think I need to try and make it through the film.
The film is really painful.
And it's so bad.
It's the whole of the 3 seasons into like one film.
In an hour and a half.
Well, I mean, they do the whole of the first season, right? Because it ends at the North Pole.
The same as the Netflix one. Yeah. I mean, even in the Netflix one, which is 8 hours, it feels rushed. There's a lot of condensing, and that was interesting in some ways because they do things like there's one episode about the spirit world.
Oh.
So it gets all of the different spirit stuff in the same episode, which at first I was like, what are they doing? And then it was like, well, yeah, because they've only got 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Is the live action Netflix one just the first season?
Yeah.
And they're doing another one.
Okay. For some reason I thought it was like the whole thing in one.
No.
I think that was because by like the end of the second episode, they'd like got through basically the whole of the first season. They just like decided that like
exactly
every character in the whole thing just converged in the same place. And they were just like, yeah, let's introduce like Jet, let's introduce the kid in the wheelchair, let's just put them all in the same place on top of each other. Yeah, that bit just really pissed me off, and then I just like didn't keep watching.
That's fair, because like even the fact that in the animation you only meet Azula in the very last episode, right at the end.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
She's the kind of hook for the next season because she's finally defeated Zhao. Whereas in the Netflix one, she's not even remotely scary. And May and Ty Lee are like just standing next to her all the time. Doesn't make any sense.
You don't have the time to kind of set things up. Certain things like that are going to happen, but then like...
So don't have them in there at all.
Yeah. From a writer's point of view, it's tough taking something that's got so many more episodes and trying to condense that into it, but it just didn't hit. The other thing that I found with the live action was maybe it's just like a modern way that stuff's filmed, but it just felt like too bright and too clean.
Yeah.
And it almost felt like cosplay or something.
It's like Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't take Addams Family and put rainbows in it.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Wednesday, like the whole concept of Wednesday frustrates me. The whole thing in the original Addams Family stuff is the contrast between them and the nicey real world, right? Mm-hmm. And so you put her into a context where everything is spooky, scary world. I just, that was just baffling to me.
Yeah. And then she's just like slightly goth. But that's
she's just slightly more goth than the goth school that she's in, right? The contrast is what made it fun, right? Yeah. You know, where they go to summer camp in the Addams Family. Is it the Addams Family Values or? The one where they go to summer camp, where it's Christina Ricci, right?
Yeah.
And there's all the flowery blonde kids versus her.
I feel like I just like don't delve into certain things when I'm watching it, but like, yeah, it's a really, really good point.
You felt it. It's the same thing. I mean, the budget that they had for the live animation was crazy, and you can see where it went. And it's a shame that it is always the same shot over and over again, same positioning, because you end up with these moments where, like, there's a bit where Katara. So you know, in the animation when Katara wants to find the waterbending master in the Northern Water Tribe, and he won't let her because girls aren't allowed, and then he sends her to go and do the healing. In the live action, it's the woman teaching the healing that tells her that women aren't allowed, which doesn't really make sense, but like, fine. But then you have this scene between them, and they're literally just stood on their marks for the whole scene, back and forth. And then Katara leaves, and then it's a reverse shot back on the woman that told her. And it's like, so boring. There's no movement at all. And again, when you compare it to the animation, where you've got the freedom of moving all over, it just doesn't compare. It's
so fluid, animation. It's beautiful. Like watching it back, it's a really incredible show.
It is stunning.
I guess the thing is that you just can't compare, but you're naturally going to compare because it's the same story.
The live action TV show, like with Wednesday, it's aiming at a different audience, right? It's a young adult show.
So true.
Whereas the original cartoon is a kids show.
I don't know though.
What do you mean?
You're right about the YA for the live action, and that was the framing that you helped me like watch it with that I definitely didn't get before. But the fact that the animation is a kids show, it was on Nickelodeon, but so many adults love it and rewatch it. And
because it's one of the best kids shows of all time.
But it's not just one of the best kids shows, it's one of the best shows of all time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But it's in the framework of a kids show, right? It's animated. It's the kind of humor that they have is definitely working on multiple levels at different points in time, right? Like people love Toy Story, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it's the same. I don't think it's the same because you don't have genocide in Toy Story.
Well,
Toy genocide.
No. Yeah, exactly.
You have death, but you don't have genocide. You don't have like entire nations being wiped out.
No, but an entire Sid
is a scary guy, but he's like Zhao. He's not Ozai.
Is a murderer's house, right?
Okay.
It's a pretty dark setting. Like you've got all of these toys that have been mutilated. It's not genocide, but it's got dark themes.
You're not going to convince me that Toy Story is adult in the way that Avatar is adult.
No, it's not the same. It's not one for one.
The character development in Avatar and just like the arcs.
Yeah.
As a kid, I think a lot of those things would definitely go over your head. The majority of stuff that is made for kids is also made for adults at the end of the day. Even if the fact that it's on Nickelodeon, even if it was originally meant for a child audience, it's clearly meant for everybody, regardless of age.
How old were you when you first watched it, James?
I actually watched it for the first time like 5 years ago.
Really?
Maybe not even that. It was when I had COVID. It was 2021. 4 years ago. That was the first time I watched it. I'd like watched bits of episodes. It was one of those shows that I was like, oh yeah, I need to watch that at some point, and just had it. Being a teenager when it came out, I don't remember being like, oh, Avatar Last Airbender, that's a show I should watch.
No, I didn't know about it until
No,
now.
Yeah, I didn't really know about it.
Yeah. It was framed at the time on Nickelodeon. You know, we were, 15 to 18 when it was coming out.
Just when we met.
Hey.
Yeah, exactly. It was on.
So we were not watching cartoons.
Well, exactly though, right? At that point in time, you weren't like, hey, let's see what's going on Nickelodeon. I think I watched it in my early 20s for the first time. And then I must have watched Korra when it was coming out and haven't watched it since then.
James, we were chatting before about it and disagreed on an element of the character arcs. And I wondered if you wanted to chat about that a bit.
100%.
Do you remember?
I do remember. So
it was heated.
So I think Avatar to me is like a kind of perfect 10 out of 10 show, and just there's no part of it that disappoints me apart from one thing. There's a but, which is Aang and Katara ending up together was not satisfying to me. I never wanted to see them end up together, and you're
on team Zutara.
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 I wanted to see Zuko and Katara end up together because I think it was the perfect culmination of his character arc. Thinking of where he starts off and all of the transformation that he goes through between the first episode of season 1 and the last episode of season 3. And he ends up with that boring ass Fire Nation girl who just like doesn't really like have any depth of character or anything to really give. And he was with her before he had his full transformation, and he's still with her.
That's true.
And that doesn't make any sense.
He's with her as a child, right? Or they're interested in each other as children.
She likes him.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But for him to go through this full transformation and end up where he does, and to still be with that person just doesn't make sense to me.
But it's perfect, right? Because he goes through the full transformation and he still ends up Fire Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it mirrors that, right?
And also May changes.
Yeah.
May does change throughout. Like she sorry, you go on, Max, because I'm
No, please go on.
I hear you, I understand. I'm rewatching it. I was a little bit angry because I was always so there for Aang and Katara, and this time watching it, I was like, I could kind of see the like Zuko thing. But you're right that it works. No, you're right that it works for Zuko's arc. It doesn't work for Katara's. There's no way on earth Katara would end up with Zuko, because even though she accepts him eventually as part of the team and as a friend, for her, that's never going to happen. For her relationship with the Fire Nation, Aang is a kid, but she's also really young, and they both go through so much together. I mean, there's an argument that it's like trauma bonding, but they still like
so true.
They still come through it as these really powerful beings who choose to be together. So I was kind of looking for different things this time, and there's that moment where, you know, the really famous bit where Sokka says, "I had a girlfriend, she turned into the moon," and Zuko's like, "That's rough, buddy."
I love that.
There's a bit where he says, "Aren't you dating that girl that never smiles?" And Zuko goes, "Yeah," and he has this little smile, and it's like he does really like May, and May switches sides for him.
They sow the seeds the whole way through.
Yeah.
There is that moment, Zuko and Katara, though, right, where he takes her to the guy that killed her mum.
No, that's the bit where it does kind of switch, but that's her accepting him into the group and trusting him. That's not like it's a whole other level to be like, he's my guy.
Yeah.
True. I do see your point that it's more of a character arc for Zuko than it is for Katara.
Oh, you sound sad. I'm sorry.
It speaks to how good of a show it is, right? That you can ship it that hard.
Yeah.
But to me, it felt like not only the perfect combination of Zuko's arc, but also for the world to have the Water Tribe and the Fire Nation come together and it kind of like heal all of the damage that the Fire Nation did over the past 100 years. That again just felt like a nice coming together of nations.
Yeah, no, that's a good point actually.
Yeah, but what about Aang?
Yeah, man, Aang just doesn't. He just doesn't seem.
He's saying he's ace.
He's just not like.
He's so
I see him
young.
as asexual.
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't see him as somebody that. I don't know. I know that they kept trying to make the Aang Katara, like there were a few moments over the course of it, but it just I never felt it. I never felt it was real. I felt it was just Aang having this kid crush and Katara. I don't know what their ages actually are.
Well, he's 12 and she's like, she must be like 14 or something, because Sokka's like 16.
Well, that's the weirdness about it, right? It's that preteen versus teen dynamic that I can see why.
He's the Avatar.
Yeah.
He's a kid.
He's 112. So if anything, it's weird the other way.
I'm coming round. I think James might be right.
Don't go on his side.
Case closed.
Case not closed.
What's your favorite season of the 3 original seasons, James?
One of my favorite bits and just the setup to it is them slowly getting closer to Ba Sing Se.
Oh, so good.
And they like hear about it. They keep on hearing about Ba Sing Se, and then you finally get there. But then they prolong it even further because they get there and then the Fire Nation drill is there, and then it kind of like takes another couple episodes for him to actually get that shot where finally kind of like
through the inner wall
on that train. Yeah, going through the inner wall. Is that end of season 2, season 3?
It's
season 2.
Mid season 2.
It's season 2.
It's just season 2.
Appa's lost.
Yes.
That's why they're going, is like, Appa's going to be there, and they're like, how hard can it be to find him? To see the enormity. Yeah, I agree, because I think the scale of the city, having started in the South Pole and like built all the way up.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, I think season 2, because the Lost Appa episode, and just like
And toph.
and toph as well, of course, from the library episode when Appa gets taken. So before I watched it from the beginning, my girlfriend was watching it and I happened to come in when she was watching the library episode, and I watched from there until the Appa lost one, and I was like, we need to start this from the beginning.
I need to know what is going on.
Now, what is bending?
Every time I rewatch it, I have this knot in my stomach from the library episode until he gets found again. There's such like this deep sense of loss.
Yes.
And yearning for Appa to be found again. Oh, they just do it so well. And you just really feel Aang's loss in that episode when he loses him. And then when that moment by the water and Aang runs up and hugs him when they find him finally. And it's just, it's done so well. It's just like so perfect, the kind of rhythm of it and just how it comes together.
I was crying at the beginning of that episode.
And
So
then
ready
I
for it.
cry at almost every
So
episode of
amazing.
this show. It's ridiculous.
Honestly, this time watching it through, which was the 4th or 5th, probably 4th, I cried more than any other time because you're anticipating it. You know what's coming. And the payoff is always so good.
The one thing that to me makes Zuko's full character arc even more sad is that the voice actor of Ara died before
Marco.
season 3. And there's something just really sad about that he didn't get to experience the final.
Oh, the final part of Zuko's.
Yeah, you got that
arc,
real world
Yeah.
tragedy.
Wow.
Tales of Busting say that Iroh's story is dedicated to Mako, right? He's mourning the death of his son
He sings that song
in that episode,
It's
right?
his birthday.
Yes, exactly.
And with the song, it's so beautiful because at the beginning of that segment, he's buying the picnic basket and there's a kid that's crying and he just picks up a random instrument and plays the song, but you don't really know the significance of it. And then comes back at the end when he's singing it. Oh,
That episode is a great encapsulation of why the live actions struggle so much and why it struggles so much when you try and condense this stuff down.
yeah.
Because it's all about the texture, it's all about the journey, it's all about the little moments in between. And when you try and distill it down to narrative beats, you get the point, but you miss the point, right?
you lose the soul.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
lose the soul, yeah.
Yeah, so true.
I think that's why I found it surprising how well they did the beasts and the spirits and some of the shots in the live action, some of the shots of the environment and the kind of setting, the locations are exactly what it is in the original. And it was a bit jarring because in some ways, at least the film was so bad on every single level that none of it was really surprising. It didn't catch me off guard. It was just awful.
What about the pronunciations, though?
Oh, Aang, the Avatar.
Avatar.
The Avatar.
Wait, is that in the film?
It's like no one's even watched it.
Yeah. Agni Ki instead of Agni Kai.
Oh my god.
Bizarre choices.
So
Right.
bad. I do recommend watching it just to see how
It's like a car
deeply
crash.
you can butcher
It's
something.
like-
Yeah.
In slow motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about him the other day as the actor equivalent of Shyamalan is Nick Cage, right? Where he does some stuff where you're like, oh, this guy knows how to direct a film. And then he does some stuff where you're like, this guy's never seen a film before. What is he doing? And it's impossible to predict what's going to happen next with his career. You know?
I love that. Speaking of Nicolas Cage, I want to ask you guys a question. Do you have films that you gravitate towards? Let me just I'll tell you mine first, and just to give you an idea what I mean.
Is it Con Air?
I hope it's gone out.
No, wait, let me say what I do love Con Air.
Okay, sorry.
So there's a few films that I seem to gravitate towards this kind of way to like insulate myself from the world when I feel overwhelmed by stuff.
Comfort films, yeah.
Yeah. So some of the things that fit into that bracket are like all the Harry Potter films, Lord of the Rings. But I've realized recently that there's this very special brand of like Disney adventure film where you kind of know, even though there's like stuff happens and like it can go wrong, there's not that much dread or fear at any point. So the 2 National Treasure films and Night at the Museum are there for me in that category.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
Someone just gave me National Treasure on DVD, and I don't know if I've actually ever seen it.
Oh my god!
Do you have a
bro.
DVD player?
I have a DVD player, yeah.
What year is this?
I have a DVD player. It plays all regions.
I think I saw National Treasure at the cinema.
I don't think I even watched it at the
Really?
cinema. What do you think of National Treasure, Hannah?
Well, what year did it come out? Because that was when I watched it.
2009?
Must be 2000s. 2004?
Oh, no, the second one was 2009.
Oh my God, so I was 14.
Whoa.
I mean, I thought it was great.
Have you rewatched it since then? No. Oh my God, I've watched it so much.
Have you seen the SNL sketch where they're writing the Declaration of Independence?
No.
And one of them's like, but wait, guys, what if we wrote like a sick ass map on the back of this thing? Like, what if? But what if? And it led to some treasure. And everyone's like, no.
It's an important legal document.
Yeah, exactly. What are you talking about?
I want you to watch National Treasure, and then when you guys do an episode of it, I'll come back on and we can talk about National Treasure.
Oh, I will. Yeah.
Being a kid in the 90s, there's this special kind of 90s adventure film. There was a certain kind of freeness that films had in the 90s, and especially like adventure films that just, they were
breeziness.
Yeah. It just felt like
yes.
Felt like life was just so
yeah.
free of worry and concern. I think it's a few things. I think it's us growing up in that era, so it kind of brings us back there. I think it's also that cinema and movies in general kind of just peaked there because there was this naivety where not everything seemed to be so much about making money.
They just had more.
That's a really good point. People were taking more risks and putting more money into passion projects rather than making another Avengers film.
The perfect example of some of this when it comes to Hollywood filmmaking is in the Rocky series, where the first Rocky film, late 70s, and it's really weird. Like, if you watch the first Rocky film, it's kind of all over the place. There's a bit where he's just wandering down the street and chatting to like buskers on the street. And there's not a lot of boxing. The second Rocky film distills that down a bit further. It gets it more to the point of it's a sports film, starting to shape it into a bit more what we would recognize as a sports film now. The third film is 100% like a modern sports film. That's when Eye of the Tiger comes in. The whole thing is training montages and music, and it's this distilled essence of a sports film. By the fourth one, mid-80s, it's cocaine-fueled nonsense, right? It's going to Russia and training in the Arctic and stuff. The fifth film, into the 90s, he's rapping. There's like a protege that he's got to box, but it's still in this experimental phase. And by the time you get to, especially the 2010s, but going into the 2000s and 2010s, they have distilled the formula so perfectly for algorithmic content to go into eyeballs. Wednesday, The Last Avatar, this new show version, right? Yeah. They've distilled down what works, what's makeable on this kind of budget, in this kind of time frame that we can churn out. It's sensible when you're dealing with that sort of amount of money, but you don't get Con Air, right?
This is the analogy that just came to me. You know, like fast food is made to taste really good, but it doesn't leave you satisfied.
Exactly.
That's a perfect analogy. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just all chemicals and it looks great, but there's no soul to it.
All sound and fury, right?
Me and my girlfriend watched, she hadn't seen Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift before.
Oh, that's a banger, that one.
Okay, rewatching it, it's not at all.
Hard disagree, and I will not rewatch it to check.
There was the best review of it. It was fast, it was furious, but it wasn't very good.
Why would you work on clever wordplay for a review of something like that? You know, that's perfect. Yeah.
One of my very favorite films in this world is Aliens.
Ooh.
It's like a 10 out of 10 film for me. The last time I watched it, I cried at the last scene because it was just so good. It's not a film that you are meant to cry at, I don't think. But I was like, this is just like such an amazing bit of cinema. This is incredible. This is like, everything about this is so amazing. People just put so much of themselves into this film and it's so obvious. There's so many things about that film that I love. But the very first scene when, because it continues off instantly from where Alien finishes. Well, I mean, not actually, it's like 57 years later, but...
Instant in the grand scheme of the universe.
It's Ripley going back.
She goes into stasis.
Yeah.
And then it's them finding her in the pod.
Yeah.
They cut open the door of the pod with whatever the thing is, you know. And then, you guys on board with me?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And it lasts about 30 seconds of just...
Right. Ratcheting tension.
And it's just like, fuck yeah, man. This is such a great choice. That no alien appears until over halfway into the film. And it's an action film. The pacing, the build-up, there's all this really menacing ambient music, and the bit when they finally get to where all of the crew are and where they finally meet the aliens for the first see the aliens for the first time.
I don't. That just sounds like a talk show.
Very diplomatic.
So you're an alien. What's the deal with that?
All of the music stops and it's just silence, and it's so understated, and it's such a good film.
Well, and you said about like taking time for an action film to kick into gear. You have to create a world that you give a shit about being destroyed, right?
It's so important, and I think everybody deep down knows that the best payoffs are the ones that have delayed gratification. And yet, because they know that in the TikTok age, everybody's attention spans are so short, everybody panders to it. But then it just makes the problem worse because everybody's expecting it to just be faster, but then you don't get the same gratification, because you can scroll on your phone on like a bunch of 10-second videos.
Yeah.
It gives you so much dopamine, but you don't get that deep sense of satisfaction you get from like committing to...
It's not a roast dinner, is it?
It's not a roast dinner. Exactly.
One of my favorite films of recent years, and this is like 10 years old now even, is Force Majeure.
Oh, so good.
Did you see that one, James?
I haven't seen it, I'm sorry. I was busy watching National Treasure for the 20th time.
Yeah. The reason I mentioned Force Majeure is it's about this is not a spoiler particularly because this is in the marketing materials for it.
It's kind of a spoiler.
Well, I mean, okay, so spoiler alert for Force Majeure, which is from 2014. It's about a family who are in a ski resort. They're sitting outside waiting for their food or their coffee to come out or whatever. And they start to see an avalanche coming towards them, this sort of massive snow avalanche. And
it's one shot, just static.
It's one shot, and it's that seems like that might be dangerous. And all the staff are like, no, it's fine. This sort of thing happens all the time. This is just it looks worse than it is, and it gets closer and closer. People start to panic. People start to scatter and run away. The father bolts, leaves his wife and 2 children at the table. Like he picks up his phone and just goes. And the mother's trying to get the 2 children away. And then it turns out it wasn't anything to be worried about. It wasn't an avalanche. It's just the snow blows over and everything's kind of fine. But he's also had this enormous moment of cowardice, like that he would just leave his family. And the whole rest of the film is just them dealing with the
fallout,
awkward outcome of that and the fallout of that one moment.
Wow.
And it's very slow.
It's brilliant.
It's this one horrible moment that everything else is then centered around. Beautiful film.
That's such a good setup.
Yeah. And very, very funny as well.
It's playing with that expectation, right? If that was on a streaming platform where they had a number of episodes to do or a certain time limit, you wouldn't get that. You would have the avalanche happen and then people would be telling you, oh, that avalanche happened. Did you see? And did you see that guy ran away? Rather than existing in that space and feeling what the characters are feeling. But I think you're right. I think people want that still, as much as these algorithms are for a lot of people. And it works for us as well. Like I found like a hack for stopping binging because I needed to find something.
Oh, please tell. Please.
And it's to stop in the middle of an episode.
Oh, yeah.
And it totally works because if you wait until the end, there will be a hook and it will go on to the next scene and then you're in another episode. But if you know that there's going to be a lull in like 10, 15 minutes in and you stop there, then it's fine.
That's a really, really good point.
Yeah, reality TV does that so obviously.
Yeah.
That's why I needed to learn it. Otherwise, it's like 25 hours and it's just my whole life.
Yeah.
I don't know why we think that we know what's best for us. You know, like so much of what people work towards is just like making life more and more convenient. But convenience isn't what makes your life meaningful. So it's not the right pursuit. Like think of just like the way that streaming services work. When people just had like VHS or DVDs, you had a finite number of things you could watch, or you go to Blockbuster, and then it's still pretty finite. You know, there's. You could be like, oh, I'm stuck between these like 3 films I don't want to watch. But now you could watch something constantly forever and still not run out of things to watch. And I think it's actually made it harder to choose stuff to watch than when there was like a really limited choice. We think that we want more choice, but actually in the depth of unlimited choice, you just are in this like infinite decision paralysis where you end up not watching anything fulfilling or you just like scroll on your phone instead.
This is why I always just watch the top thing that comes up on Netflix.
Or National Treasure.
Leave it there, right? If National Treasure comes to the top, then I'll watch it.
And that's why you watched Red 1 or whatever it was.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I watched Red 1, right? I could have watched... There's Orson Welles films that I haven't seen, and I watched Red 1. I should be ashamed.
Do you guys rewatch films much?
Yeah. Not loads, but I do rewatch.
Less than I used to.
Yeah, that's probably true. I've watched more since we started doing this. I've rewatched a lot more.
Yeah. To me, films fulfill a few different things for me, but there's one thing that I use films for quite a lot, and that's just this kind of insulating thing. So I heard this thing a while back where someone was saying that if you spend most of your normal day, your working day, dealing with a lot of unknowns and things that you can't control, your brain will naturally gravitate towards things that are familiar when you're looking to unwind. And yeah, I'd really noticed this, that whenever I wanted to watch something, I was just like, oh, I just need to watch something that I know. I don't have the capacity to not know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Certain films that kind of just fulfill that. And also certain genres of film. So I realized that I really like two types of film: murder mysteries and disaster films. Even though you don't know the specifics of what happened, you kind of know the general thing. With a murder mystery, you know that there's going to be a cool twist and you're going to find out who did it, but you don't know the specifics. And there's enough of a commonality of a framework that I can kind of like latch onto while still being given something new.
What are big ones for you with murder mystery films?
Knives Out and Glass Onion.
It's the Agatha Christie model, yeah.
Yeah. And then also all of the Poirot, like the remake of the Poirot ones.
Midsummer Murders.
Oh, going back to TV, yeah.
Wait, was that like a series?
British series, yeah.
Oh my God. Midsummer Murders was like home from school and sick.
I never watched it. I should come back to it.
They used to film some of it when my grandparents lived. In the like green that they lived on. In Midsummer, yeah. Well, there's this nice green that they used to live on where they would film some episodes. Yeah.
I remember Harry got really into it. He was like always quoting it.
That's...
It does not strike me as an eminently quotable show.
Or maybe not quote from it, but be like, oh, it's like this thing that happened in Midsummer Murders this morning.
Oh, right.
It's interesting to think about why we watch a film. It's something that we've talked about on here because we'll have wildly different reactions to a film, often because we have completely different expectations for that film. Like if I go in expecting a good film and it's not hitting certain points, then I'm going to be disappointed. But if I go in expecting a bad film, I'm almost disappointed if it then is good. Like I want it to be cheesy and on the nose and have all these rogue bits of dialogue that don't make any sense. And maybe that's why when we're talking about camera angles and all of this repetition in streaming services now, you know what you're getting. I got recommended The English on BBC.
Okay. What was that about?
Basically, I watched American Primeval and then was like, okay, I'm in a Western phase now. And then, I watched The English and it was so BBC that I couldn't even watch it.
What is with that? It's like they put a fucking grade on it that just makes it look like EastEnders. They make it look so shit. So
a friend of mine worked on a BBC shoot and was really excited because they were like, oh, I'm going to see how this director is working. And she said the director was so bored. Right. They just went, get this shot from there, that one from there, and that one from there. And then all they were saying to the actors was like a bit louder or a bit quieter.
Wow.
And I was like, that's so disappointing. And she said that she spoke to them afterwards or spoke to some of the actors or someone was just like, it's because there's a format and they have to follow it, because if they don't follow it, it's not going to pass all the levels of people that are going to sign it off. Netflix has a look. Apple has a look.
Stupid.
Brand guidelines, right?
I guess like old channels. It's how channels used to work, right?
Having a look makes sense, but like have a good look at least. Like if you're going to do it. Like...
It often is at a certain point, right? With A24, for example.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
They have a look. It's a good look, but it's starting to get to a point where it's a little bit overplayed now.
So true.
Right, because we've learned it and you want novelty, you want something new. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think there's got to be room for these things to kind of progress and not just stagnate like that. But...
Innovation becomes expectation. So you do something which is new and creative, and then everyone's like, oh, okay, that's how it's, and then you have to do something new again, right? Yeah. You can't just ever stay static.
That makes me think of Wes Anderson, because I've got really, really bored with his films recently, and then ranted about them to people because everyone was like, oh, Wes Anderson is so good. It's like, so boring. But did you see the Roald Dahl adaptations on Netflix?
I saw one of them.
So interesting. Obviously, it was very Wes Anderson still, but using sets in this like paper puppet way and having them just walk through. It was such an interesting mix of staging and film and reading from the books as the narrative rather than trying to translate it, literally just reading. And also Ray Fiennes as Roald Dahl. It's like perfect.
Yeah.
He does get great casts together.
Yeah, except Benedict Cumberbatch.
Any director that has a pool of people that they keep using, I love that because it gives every film they make the same feel, and the actors are probably going to just have like a really good dynamic with each other because they're just used to interacting in different roles together. I'm so amazed with any director that can create such a obvious world that like you can see a single shot from any Wes Anderson film and you're like, oh, it's a Wes Anderson film. Or like the way that the dialogue is delivered, everything about it is so uniquely him. And to kind of lean into that must have been like a hard thing because it's like, we make films like this. And he's like, I'm doing it like this. And just to stick to that and just to carve out this whole space is pretty amazing. Because think of how many filmmakers there are and to have such a unique style that people just like know that it's you instantly is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very specific type. Yeah.
He still has that in the early ones. And I preferred it. I mean, Tarantino is kind of a good example of this as well.
Totally.
The early films are still him, but they haven't been condensed down to this almost parody of themselves.
Which point in Wes Anderson's film?
Where's the cutoff?
Where's the cutoff?
For me, it's Darjeeling Limited and Grand Budapest.
Oh, that far back?
In between those.
Oh, okay.
You don't like Grand Budapest?
That's the cutoff point. I don't not love it, but it's like it's the start of the end.
Okay, no. I'm with you. Since then, I've not enjoyed them as much.
Darjeeling Limited was beautiful. It was everything you're saying about the cast, the colours, there were some really interesting shot decisions, like the slow motion on the train, but then being in the train and you just got Natalie Portman for half a second and then never again. Amazing. And Angelica Houston as the bump, like so good. And then the whole sequence where they don't save the kid and with the funeral and everything, it's just like heartbreaking. Grand Budapest, I felt like it was leaning on style more and it just didn't have the same impact at all.
Okay. So what have you seen since that? I mean, I haven't seen much of his recent stuff. So it's French Dispatch, Asteroid City, and then there's a new one this year.
I walked out of French Dispatch and I haven't seen Asteroid City.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I have to say, I did walk out of it because it was an outdoor screening and it wasn't good enough to stay.
Right, okay. Yeah, fair.
I guess when somebody gets to that level, maybe they're like, oh, cool, I can just do whatever I want. I can just be like as fully me as I want and then maybe kind of go too far with it.
Yeah, the like yes man thing.
Yeah, totally.
You need restrictions. Like you said about Glass Onion earlier, I love Rian Johnson and his first film, Brick. It's not my absolute favourite, but it's definitely up there because it was so impressive for a first film. And if you haven't seen it, it's like murder mystery.
Sick.
And it's really
watch
good.
it.
It's like neo-noir, but set in a high school. It's amazing. And what you have to do when you don't have money and when you don't have time makes it so much more creative.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a bit in it where he's like, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is like having a tantrum and it's the same shot and it jump cuts while he's having the tantrum to like 3 different moments of the tantrum in the same shot. And afterwards, Rian Johnson gets interviewed about it where people are like, wow, what made you make that decision? And he was like, I was just hoping nobody would notice that bit. Like it was an accident. And then it turns into this stylistic thing that then becomes part of a signature.
Well, that's a really good point. Like when whatever medium it is, when people watch your film, listen to your music, blah, 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 they assume that every choice you've made was on purpose, even if they weren't. And I think there's a lot of weight to that. Yeah, your least favorite bit that you try to just like hide could be somebody's favorite part that they were like, I'm so glad that he made that choice when even it wasn't a choice.
Have you had that?
Do you find that with your, I was
you guys are locked in.
Tell us, please.
I mean, I've definitely had people, their favorite bit, like a vocal bit that I was like, Don't like that. I really don't like that take. And somebody just found enjoyment in, I don't know, whatever it is, the rawness of it, or that it wasn't perfect or whatever it is. It's really easy to think that the goal with all of these things is perfection, like every shot being perfect, everything being exactly the way that it's supposed to. But I don't know, I just don't think that's an obtainable thing really. And just looking back at older decades of film, I think there's like so many more errors with inverted commas and just things that maybe didn't go to plan, but it doesn't detract from it because it just makes it more human.
Wabi sabi, right?
What's that?
It's the Japanese philosophy.
Oh, the gold,
the
the fixing stuff with the gold. No, I'm thinking of something else.
no, not that one. No, it's where it's like the beauty in imperfection.
Right? Yeah.
You want to have some imperfections in things because if everything's too perfect, then I mean, like with Uncanny Valley, where you do computer generated whatever it is. There's a too perfect moment.
Yeah,
and you need levels of imperfection
for sure. Some modern films give me a bit of an Uncanny Valley feel to it, kind of like the Avatar live action thing a bit. It just doesn't, it feels like too clean and too perfect, and it just like lacks depth. Hannah, I might have asked you this. I haven't watched the video, but I saw a video on YouTube. The title of it was "Why Films Don't Look Like Films."
Why don't they make films?
Yeah. I didn't watch it, so I don't know the specifics. But
it's about well, I can tell you.
Your algorithms are synced up.
It's mostly about lighting.
Oh, right.
Basically, because of time. It goes back to what we were saying about, this shot, reverse shot. There's two people in a scene. They light it. It's perfect. You can see everything. But it's also because when film was actually film, you got a lot of detail with contrast. So you would have to light it in a certain way so that things would be visible, right? But because now digital cameras are so good at picking up everything and it's safer in production to shoot so that you can see everything, you don't need to light it in the same way. So you get this kind of blanket light. One of the examples in the video, I can't remember what film it's from, but there's a woman who's like in darkness and she steps forward into the light. And actually, we were talking about Rope the other day. There's a moment where one of the actors walks forward and she arrives on her mark, and on her mark she's in shadow and she turns and then her face is perfectly lit, but it's like half lit because they'll have planned that in that way, and there's not enough time to do that people aren't thinking about it in that way because they don't need to.
Lighting takes so long.
Lighting takes forever and they're just not gonna spend that time on it. And also you need to do a different lighting setup for each shot if you're going to do it that way, because it will change as soon as you move the angle. Whereas if you just whack up the ISO, you can see everything,
figure it out in post,
and that's why it kind of all looks flat.
Is that also why so one of the things I really like about old films is where they light blue for night, and they don't really do that anymore. I mean, I guess that's actually
it's like
that's
grey
something
for night now.
It's just really fucking dark and flat a lot of the time.
What you were saying about perfection, James, I think is also really interesting. And going back to Avatar with the live action, one of the things that bothered me the most is that, we've talked about this concept of cell phone face before, which is in period dramas where an actor looks like they know what a cell phone is. And often it has to do with teeth. It's that their teeth are perfect and that just wouldn't happen in like 17th century. But in Avatar, all of the old actors have cell phone face. They all look perfect. Too perfect.
So true.
It's like Gran has got veneers. Like it doesn't work.
That's the danger of actors being overworked, right? I mean, and this you saw this recently with the new season of White Lotus. You've got Amy Lou Wood, who's one of the stars of it. She has teeth which are not perfect American veneered teeth. And so the entire conversation about the whole series is about her teeth, right? The fact that she deviates from the norm so slightly, right? It's crazy.
That's mental.
It is, yeah. Do you want to play Nick Holt?
With what, the film or with the TV show?
I guess with the TV show.
Yeah, should we do it with the TV show?
Also, did we meet at the same festival? I feel like I met you in music, James. It wasn't at Reading Festival that we met. We met at college.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Because the origin of this game is because Nick Holt is from Wokingham.
Yeah.
And when I met Max, he was at Reading Festival.
I remember that Reading Festival.
Yeah.
Was that 2007 or 8?
7.
It was 6.
It was 2007. It was 7. I was at that one.
It was 7.
Yeah.
And 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Okay, yeah.
So 6 Degrees of Nick Holt.
It's just It's nothing like that game, Hannah. It's completely different. The only person that immediately comes to mind from the series is Dante Basco.
Oh, yeah.
Who plays Zuko. Because I know he was in Hook.
The guy who plays Zhao, he was in Industry.
Wait, are we talking about the animated series?
No, the Netflix one.
Oh, sorry. I'm talking about the animated series.
You're talking about the animated. Oh, then I've got no idea.
Yeah, well, that's why I say, like, the only person that immediately comes to mind that jumps off to anything big is Dante Basco. Yeah. Because the film, you've got Asif Mandavi, who's in, like, The Daily Show and stuff.
You've also got Abed from Community.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, I was going to tell you guys, because obviously you only watched the beginning.
Yeah, we didn't get to that point.
He's the inventor.
Oh, no. I do remember that because he comes in before the end of the second episode when they're in...
Yeah.
With the son in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He's good in it, but I was also like, why is Abed here?
Wait, so you've got...
Ken Leung.
Wait, who are you jumping off of?
Zhao.
Oh, Ken Leung. Yeah.
I've got it.
Yeah.
Because he goes... So Ken Leung is in Industry with...
He's in loads of stuff. I'm just looking at his page now.
So he was in Industry with Maya Hala, who is in Black Mirror. So then Daniel Kaluuya skins.
Quick.
It's actually kind of crazy that Nick Holt's never been in Black Mirror. That seems like the perfect show for him.
That would make it much easier for us.
Yeah.
Can you do one with Nicolas Cage?
Oh, Renfield.
They're in the same film.
I was going to go through Face Off.
Oh, you do that? Yeah.
Wait, no. That was the wrong
Con Air?
round. It gets very confusing. Yeah,
we often end up sort of going in a direction and then getting confused about who we were even trying to get to in the first place. So, yeah, you did. Yeah, that was really quick with that one. That was good. I want to do Dante Basco though quickly, just from the cartoon, because so you go Hook, then like Robin Williams, right? And then he's got to have been in something crossing over with Nick Holt, right?
Jumanji.
Oh, Jumanji. That's a good shout.
Who else is in Jumanji?
Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst. Ooh.
Yeah, come on. Kirsten Dunst, she must have been in something with
Spider-Man.
Tobey Maguire. Kirsten Dunst is...
Oh, yeah, Tobey Maguire, Babylon.
Oh, wait, where's that getting us?
To Brad Pitt.
Yes,
because we did that before.
Wait, Brad Pitt, and then Brad Pitt's in... Oh no, this just takes us back to...
Fight Club.
He's in Meet Joe Black with Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins is in some film with Nick Holt that I can't remember the name of.
Hannibal.
Anthony Hopkins, Nick Holt.
I'm just saying.
Hannibal.
Silence of the Lambs. Who is it?
Yeah, they're in a film called Collide together.
Damn.
Oh, wait, no. I was confused. I was like, Robin Williams is in Night at the Museum?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Yeah, he's got like
he's the president. What's
hat.
He's
Wait, does he have
He's the
he has
president.
a hat, right? And a mustache.
Oh, so then that's quicker because Ben Kingsley and then X-Men.
Oh, right, yeah.
Boom.
Well done. That is quick.
Less fun, but...
I enjoyed the journey.
Just like with Avatar: The Last Airbender, we have been on a journey.
Character arcs. We aren't who we were at the start.